So as you guys all know by now, Mike and Brian have left the Netflix Avatar team. This is some major news because now they're in the exact same position that the Avatar movie was in. Aaron Ehasz also isn't working with Netflix. I'm pretty sure he was just never offered the chance to work there. I believe that he actually tried to work with Netflix and Brian and Mike, but then they just never got back to him. There's no specific details, but they had some creative disputes, and then it just left Mike and Brian no choice but to leave the project. Neither side was really ready to compromise, so he felt that whatever comes of this Netflix series would not be his own work. And that's understandable. But even with all of these clear red flags, I'm still cautiously optimistic about the Avatar Netflix series. So I'm just going to quickly go over 3 ways the Netflix series could actually surpass the cartoon. Now, it's very unlikely that's going to surpass it in net quality, but there's definitely some things that this series can do that the cartoon either wasn't able to do or didn't do. Some things that I think would enhance the experience. Now, before we get into the video, I want to ask you all to subscribe if you haven't already. 96%, yes, 96% of the views that I've gotten on my channel are from people who aren't subscribed. So again, subscribe if you haven't. I would greatly appreciate that. The first way the live action could surpass the cartoon is by being live action. Live action makes the show feel more real. I truly believe that there's a beauty to animation, but with live action, and I think specifically Avatar live action, it could benefit a lot from looking real. The Avatar world is surreal. It's not so detached from reality that you can't reasonably make it live action. Like, I would say One Piece, for example, is too detached from reality to really make it live action and have it be normal. We have a rubber man, we have a guy that's made of magma, we have giants, we have regular humans that just look very stylized, like Ivankov, for example. But Avatar doesn't go that far. Technically, everything in Avatar we can see in real life. It's 4 elements that we're all familiar with that we can see in real life. And it's 4 cultures that we are, at least on some level, familiar with. The animals in Avatar are also really unique, but they're still just, at the end of the day, stylized animals. So if done right, it could look good. Momo, Appa, the platypus bear, the dragons. These could all be done and be done better in live action than they could in animation. So just from the way the world works, Avatar and this live action Netflix series could be better in live action than it would be in animation. The second is to show the comics in motion. I think the show could benefit a lot from being live action, like I said, but I don't think anyone is like that particularly interested in just a retelling of the show in a different format. So I think people would be interested if they expanded on the show in some way. Maybe we get some more details in the Zuko Alone flashback like we got in the Search comic. Maybe they animate the Lost Adventures comic. This comic, if you haven't read it, as the name implies, has adventures that didn't make it into the original show. Going off the top of my head here, I remember they explained how they actually killed off every Airbender after the Sozin's Comet. They had Toph versus Boomy for a few frames. They had a sword fight between Sokka and Zuko. There's actually quite a bit, and it's pretty interesting. I'd recommend reading it. It's not necessary, but I think it is interesting, and it would be more content, more like valuable, useful content that wasn't explained in the show explicitly. Or rather, wasn't shown in the show. I don't know what I was trying to say there. They could also maybe foreshadow the lion turtles better. The number one critique by far in the show is energy bending. Lion turtles, energy bending, that whole finale with Aang versus Ozai, I think, is probably the biggest critique people have of the entire show. They could have foreshadowed the lion turtles better. They could have had Avatar Wan make some appearances in Nightmares and Dreams. They could have referenced energy bending a few times before Aang actually formally got energy bending, maybe in the swamp or something. They don't have to actually change the finale, but I feel like they could have definitely foreshadowed it better. If they want to go after the show and maybe get into the comics and stuff like The Promise, The Search, The Rift, Smoke and Shadow, Imbalance, etc., then yeah, I guess they could. But if I'm being honest, I think it's kind of hard to top the finale of the cartoon. It was all set up, it was all foreshadowed from the beginning, and I don't know, it would be pretty hard to top that. The comics honestly feel like extra content, like DLC to me. Now, I mentioned all this stuff that they could change about the show, but I do want the show to retain its original spirit. And I don't mean obvious things like don't whitewash the characters or change any of their races. The characters are the race they are for culturally appropriate reasons, so don't mess that up. Knowing how these corporations and knowing how specifically Netflix works, they are likely to make Sokka and Katara black or the entire Water Tribe black for some reason. As a black man even, that would seriously annoy me. It insults the creators' work, and I feel it also insults the cultures that they were based off. Don't try and make the show too serious either. Of course we had serious moments in The Last Airbender, but it was at the end of the day like a family-friendly, all-ages show. And I think that should be retained throughout the show. Oh yeah, and make sure we have some A1 actors too. The Rock for the Boulder. I don't know, no one else really comes to mind. But yeah, that'll be it for the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and especially subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all next time. I should probably start playing video games again. I don't know, there's a lot of school. Alright, bye.